something about it. Chip got the floor wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this Monday evening. It is February the 13th, 2023, 6 o'clock straight up. This is Real Talk Memphis. Good to be with you. I'm your host, Chip Washington, and it has been a lovely, lovely day. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s today. Lots of sunshine, almost like a fall day. Very happy to have you with us. I hope your week has been okay, leading up to the Monday, the start of a brand new week. Of course, we are here to provide you some information as well as maybe a little entertainment as well. We have some good guests on tap for tonight, and we're going to proceed as follows. Right now we have a little bit of a technical issue here. We're trying to get Zoom and we're trying to get Facebook. That's Shelby. And we're trying to get that all connected up. But in the meantime, we are going to continue moving forward. Now, you may be asking yourself how you can get this fine piece of radio broadcasting. I don't blame you because I would want to know myself. You can do it a various number of ways. We, of course, are right on live right now on 91.7 on your FM dial. That would be WYXR on the radio side of things. We are also on the WYXR app. You can find us on the TuneIn app. We are also we're doing Facebook Live, or at least we're attempting to do Facebook Live tonight. Hopefully we can get that up before too long. And when the show posts tomorrow, you can find us on YouTube, and you can get us wherever you get your podcast, as we are a podcast platform here. I just got a note from one of my guests. He's waiting for the Zoom to open. So we are, and speaking of the guests, let me give you the guest list. Steve Mulroy, Shelby County District Attorney, should be joining us in a couple of minutes once we get our technical issues straightened out. Also, Van Turner, who is an attorney and the president of the local chapter of the NAACP branch here in Memphis. We're going to talk to him about the Tyree Nichols case and some of the other issues that the NAACP wants to take a closer look at, including the inner workings of the Memphis Police Department. And Sandra Madubuonwu, I'm sorry, she's got a very long last name, but her last name is Madubuonwu. Her first name is Sandra, and she is the Director of Social Determinants, Health and Wellness for Methodist Hospital. And she's going to talk to us about an initiative that she has fronted called My Sister's Keeper. It is an initiative, and she's going to talk to us about that just a little bit later on. As we continue to try to figure out our technical issues this evening, Bryn, let's do as we normally do at this time of the broadcast. We go into our birthdays. And if you are celebrating a birthday or had one over the weekend or have one coming up this week, this is the part of the show where we celebrate you and your current trip around the sun. But we can't do that unless I say, hit it, Bryn.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday. Happy birthday is going out to the following people. Jairo Aguilo is celebrating his birthday today, as is Lynn Normant. Happy birthday going out to Bertha Payne, to John Payne. Larry Bass is celebrating a birthday today, as is Tavis Wade Jones. Long time no hear from Tavis. Michelle Fant celebrating her birthday. Justin Hansen, he's celebrating his birthday today, as is Janice Fully Love. You all know Janice. If you know her, hit her up. Wish her a very happy birthday on this February 13th. Leonard James, I know him as well. He's celebrating a birthday today. And I would be remiss if I did not wish my son, David, a happy belated birthday. He had his birthday yesterday, celebrated. He's out of town this weekend, going up there wreaking havoc in Nashville, Tennessee. But anyway, happy birthday, David. And happy birthday to the rest of you out there. We hope to be here next year as we celebrate your next trip around the sun. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy and your day was filled with fun and laughter. Brian, thank you. So we're going to take a look at news and notes here today, and there's a few things to talk about. Of course, a very tragic situation in Haywood County over the weekend, where a 16-year-old girl who was leaving a basketball game up there with a carload of her friends apparently was shot at. Suspects shot into the car. The 16-year-old female was struck, and she was killed. So it is a very dark time for the folks in that area, Haywood County. Two individuals, a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old, were both arrested and charged with first-degree murder in this case. So here we go again with more juvenile crime on the rise, and again, very, very sad and tragic into a child's life before it even begins. Let's see here. We are still looking at the Tyree Nichols case. There are still many questions out here, way more questions than there are answers in terms of where we are with this investigation. We heard last week that there were 7 additional officers who were being dealt with internally and administratively within the Memphis Police Department. We don't have a list of those individuals. We are still working to find out who they are, what the charges are, and what is going to happen in terms of them. The last officer that was involved, the 6th officer, 5 of them have been terminated, of course, as we all know. The 6th officer is Preston Hemphill, and he is, of course, no longer a police department, a police officer, but he we don't know about any charges for him in terms of what he has done. We have seen the files on all the police officers, and some of these guys have had some pretty rough histories in terms of their time with the police department, their former time with the police department. Again, they're supposed to make their first court appearance, all of them, by the end of this week. We are still trying to find out from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office the 2 officers that reported to that Nichols scene, and we've not gotten any further information from them in terms of who they were, why they were at the scene, if anybody knew they were at the scene. So we're still waiting for that information. There's still a lot of emptiness outside there in terms of how we tend to move forward in the progress of this case. Mayor Strickland has asked for some outside assistance from the federal government in terms of a deeper look inside the culture of the Memphis Police Department. He's also asked the International Association of Chiefs of Police to take a look at this situation as well. Let's see here. There's a couple of other things that I wanted to mention before we get into the show. And again, my apologies to my guest. Right now, we are having problems with our Facebook Live. and our Zoom, which affects our ability to be able to do what we do here. We are starting to work on it, so please, hopefully stay patient with us as we continue to move forward from here. The norovirus is something that many of you may not have heard of. It is actually an issue that affects your digestive system and your stomach. Some of these cases are starting to spread nationwide. It's like a stomach flu. And unfortunately, there is no cure for it. And it lasts a couple of 3 days, and it's rather an uncomfortable situation. But it is starting to spread across the country. So if you get sick, internally, think about it from the perspective that might be what the situation is. And unfortunately, you're going to have to, battle through it on your own. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break here while my folks are trying to effort and fix the problem of our Zoom situation tonight. This is going to be a little challenging. I'm hoping someone, one of our bosses, is going to come down here and try to help us out with this situation tonight. But, Bryn, let's go to commercial break. We'll take our first commercial break of the evening, and when we come back, we are going to try to see if we can't effort our video and get things started on this evening. This is Real Talk Memphis for a Monday. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We will take a quick break, and we will be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR is supported by the On Stage at the Halloran Center season, presenting the McCrary Sisters on February 24th. The McCrary Sisters are gospel singers influenced by classic soul, Americana, blues, and R&B. They have performed with artists like the Black Keys, Donnie McClurkin, Carrie Underwood, and more. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
WYXR is supported by the On Stage at the Halloran Center 2022-2023 season, which continues in downtown Memphis. Experience live entertainment with music, magic, and more, including the return of Orchestra Unplugged and the Songwriter Series events. More information and the full lineup at orpheum-memphis.com/onstage.
WYXR is supported by the Orpheum Theater, presenting Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater on March 3rd through the 5th. The dancers of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater bring contemporary works by modern choreographers and classic favorites from the repertory, including Revelations. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
Can't find your radio? Maybe you're out of town and missing that Memphis feeling? WYXR can go with you wherever you travel with our mobile app for Android and Apple. Listen live or explore our archive and keep up to date with notifications. Download in your mobile app store by searching WYXR Radio app or visit wyxr.org for more information.
Are you interested in sponsoring the show and want to support WYXR at the same time? To find out how, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org.
WYXR doesn't go to sleep at night. We keep the music moving. Memphis music, that is. When our DJs clock out, our automation clocks in with music right from our community. Produced, performed, and written by Memphians, or in Memphis. Some are hits, and some are rarely heard, but they all tell the story of one of the world's greatest music cities. Visit wyxr.org for playlist and scheduling information. Email submissions@wyxr.org to let us hear your Memphis music. We may just play it.
Do you want to place your company in front of Memphis cultural consumers and influencers? How about interacting with them in a meaningful way? WYXR's second annual stereo sessions at the Memphis Listening Lab is back. We are looking for sponsors to support WYXR's exploration of unsung albums from the musical history of Memphis. For more information, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
Real Time Radio, ladies and gentlemen, on this Monday evening, Chip Washington with you. This is Real Talk Memphis, and I think we have our technical gremlins fixed, and I'm very happy to welcome to the show. And my apologies, Mr. DA. These things happen sometimes. Gremlins get in the system, but I'm very happy to have Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy joining us. And are you there, sir?
I am. Thanks for having me.
Well, actually, thank you for being here. Really, really appreciate it. And you've been a very busy fella last few weeks or so in terms of the Tyree Nichols case. And as we move forward, and the reason why I wanted to get you on is to sort of kind of get your assessment of where things are. Of course, are the 5 law enforcement officers, now 6, are no longer with the Memphis Police Department. You are being universally praised for the expeditious manner in which all of this started to happen in terms of the charges that were issued. I heard the Benjamin Crump, the attorney for the family, say that you set a new standard with this, and now they're 20 days is what they're looking for cases like this that may crop up in the future. Were you pleased with the way all of this sort of set up? Of course, Chief Davis quickly investigated these officers and quickly terminated them, which I would imagine allowed you to be able to do what you needed to do.
So, Chip, I think certainly this is a tragic situation, and my heart goes out to the Nichols family. But to answer one of your questions, I am pleased with how we were able to handle the situation. We were able to move quickly but thoroughly to charge the 5 officers who were principally responsible for the death of Tyree Nichols. I think it was important that the video be released quickly for purposes of transparency and, making sure that we didn't have the public lose confidence in the fairness of the system. But at the same time, I also thought it was important that the charges be announced prior to the release of the video, if at all possible, so that we could sort of tamp down any, potentially violent public response after seeing some, certainly shocking images on the video. So, I'm proud of my staff for moving it quickly. I'm proud of my city for responding peacefully. And I think our office is gratified by hearing praise like the praise that you just mentioned. And I think Ben Crump was interviewed on CNN saying that the way we handled it should be, quote unquote, a blueprint for the rest of the nation. And that's certainly gratifying to hear.
Yeah, in terms of the response to the city, you were very honest and forthright with everybody you spoke with nationally about all of this in terms of right before the video came out, saying that this is going to be rough. It's a very, very hard to watch situation, and it was. I've seen it as has many people. But I think what I'm really impressed with in terms of how you did what you did, how the chief did what she did, is the response from our community, which you mentioned a minute ago. The family, of course, wanted no violence. It's okay to protest, and you have every right to do that, but no violent episodes. And we not only did not see that here, but in various protests around the country in reference to this case, we did not see that as well. And as a career law enforcement, or like a legal authority, you had to be very gratified with the way people handled a very difficult situation, no?
I was gratified indeed. I think that's fairly stated, Chip. With respect to preparing the public for how shocking the video might be, I think that, Chief Davis really was doing the bulk of that. I was a little bit more measured in my comments about characterizing the videos. I think I need to be as the prosecutor in the case. But to your larger point, yeah, I was very pleased and gratified by the peaceful response, not only in Memphis, but around the nation. And I think large part of that credit goes to Tyree Nichols' mother, Mrs. Wells,
right.
who, was very eloquent in calling for protest, but peaceful protest in response to what they may see once the video was released.
Now, you have stated, and just for the record, this investigation is not over yet. There's still a lot of questions in reference to some of the things that happened on site there. It is fair to say that this investigation is still active and ongoing?
Absolutely. This is an ongoing investigation, so we're not prepared to close anything just yet.
6 officers total have been fired from the Memphis Police Department. Do you see, as we heard last week, of course, now that there are 7 additional officers that were somehow connected to this that are under administrative review? We've not heard anything additional with that. Are you privy to tell us in terms of what you know about that, if anything, where that investigation might go, and might it lead to your office?
Don't have details at the moment about the exact status of the investigation. Of course, that's the role of the city of Memphis and the Memphis Police Department. I will say again that whatever charges or administrative actions have occurred already or are going to occur, that does not necessarily preclude any charges coming forth from our office later on, nor does it guarantee that any charges will come forth. There are separate investigations with separate standards of proof. And I probably should have mentioned when I was giving credit for people who were, helping with a peaceful response to the release of the video, I would be remiss if I didn't also mention the local NAACP,
yes,
whose head is, I think, going to be on your show a little bit later, and I also thought did a great job.
So you mentioned last week or a couple of days ago that in reference to the 5 fired police officers, you're going to have to now open up some of the prior cases that may have been involved in. Talk a little bit about that and what you'd be looking for in terms of doing that.
Yeah, we've made the decision to proactively go back and look at every case in which any of the 5 officers that we charged were involved in, as well as Officer Hemphill. And just, take a second look at those cases just to make sure there weren't any problems that would cause us to have to revisit the results in those cases. Now, in addition to those cases, if there are specific cases involving the larger Scorpion unit or other elements of the Memphis Police Department or the Sheriff's Department for that matter, that people have credible evidence to suggest that there may have been police abuse that might, undermine our confidence in the justness of the disposition in that case, well, they can send us that information and we'll be happy to look at what they have.
Can you tell us if the TBI has finished their investigation into this, or is it still ongoing for them as well?
TBI investigation is still ongoing.
Okay. So we still have a lot of questions to be answered in this case, and it's going to continue on for a while. But listen, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you're busy, and I apologize again for the technical issues that we had. But I'm so happy that you took some time to come and visit with us this evening. Again, a great job, in handling what has been an extraordinarily difficult situation for so many of us here in our city. Thank you, DA Mulroy, for coming on the show tonight. I truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I was happy to do it. I'm a big fan of your show.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you down the road. Thank you so much.
Take care and have a good night.
All right, thank you. You too. District Attorney Steve Mulroy, gracious enough to join us this evening, and basically said, "Look, this investigation is far from over. We still have some issues that we're going to have to deal with, and we are going to do just that." Now, I don't know. Van is on with us right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue this conversation and talking right into him. Van Turner, ladies and gentlemen, is an attorney. And he is the president of the local chapter of the NAACP Memphis branch. Van, are you there? Van, can you hear us?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, man, thank you again, for bearing with us tonight. And thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So,
thank you.
No.
I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah. Anytime. So listen, you all have played a pretty active role in the Tyree Nichols investigation. You've been watching it very, very closely, and as you have said on many national platforms in this country, it's all about justice for Tyree. As this investigation continues to move forward. And of course, we heard now that there are 7 additional officers that may have been involved in this. And having said all of that, while we are waiting for whatever the police department does administratively to these individuals, is this sort of further leading us in a direction in your organization, specifically in what justice looks like for Tyree Nichols?
Yes, absolutely. I think we need to get down to the bottom of what happened. Everyone involved needs to be brought to justice, and we need to make sure we do all that we can to prevent this from occurring in the future. Obviously, in order to seek true justice, we have to have accountability, we have to have transparency, and we have to have change from the bottom up and the top down. So we have to root out this culture that allows officers to feel that they can do something like this and nothing will happen to them, nothing will occur. Cameras are on, they know what they're doing is wrong, yet they continue to do it. So hopefully this is the start of the change. And as I've said in many, many instances, this is not a condemnation of all officers.
Right.
What we do is want to root out the bad officers, and we want to support the good officers, because there's plenty of work to do here in the city as it relates to public safety and crime.
As each day goes by, we are hearing, and now we're seeing some of the public records, the personnel records of the 6 officers that have been dismissed from the Memphis Police Department. And some of the officers in particular past cases and things that they've been involved in are pretty troubling in terms of, some of the disciplinary actions and things that have happened. There is a $5 million federal lawsuit that has been filed by an individual, 22 years of age, who said that he had an encounter with this former Scorpion unit, and all 5 of these individuals. When you hear something like that, and you hear some of his stories, and you see some of the injuries that he had, what goes through your mind?
I mean, it's just horrible. Obviously, detecting this individual earlier could have prevented the death of Tyree Nichols.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are dealing with an individual who should have been reprimanded, suspended, and terminated way before he encountered Tyree Nichols on the night of January the 7th. That's a problem with the system. That's a problem that has to be resolved. We have to rid the police force and the sheriff's department of these bad officers, because it gives the good officers a bad name. It contributes and perpetuates this type of toxic behavior that's not good for law enforcement, and it's not good for the community. And we have to build back the trust. And we don't build back the trust by moving officers from department to department, from one unit to the next unit, from one office to the next office. We have to make sure that what we're doing is in the best interest of the community. So when we see officers who have shown a who have shown that they are prone to commit these kinds of violent acts, we have to make sure that they're reprimanded and that they're taken off the force before they can hurt another individual.
Now,
So
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead, Van. Go ahead.
So we're seeing these lawsuits come out now, but in one instance, one guy had complained and there was no response. And yet 2 or 3 days later, we see what happens. We see what happened to Tyree Nichols. So we have to act a lot earlier in order to catch these officers before they go out and they do what was done to Nichols.
There have been a lot of questions directed at Chief Davis in reference to really the internal workings, of the police force, and in reference to what you were saying. The people are wanting to know about the culture. The mayor has asked for 2 outside independent entities, one of them from the federal government, to take a closer look at this agency, the police department, and taking into account some of these, as you said, some of these issues that happened before the tragic death of Tyree Nichols that were not addressed beforehand. And then I heard you say something the other day that I thought was pretty right on in reference to something I thought was really ludicrous. A lawmaker out of Lebanon, Tennessee, he wants to file a bill that basically will take, we have civilian law review boards, right? CLERB here. And which is a civilian oversight to be able to watch and monitor what the police department is doing, be able to ask questions, be able to, kind of dig into things a little bit. He wants to remove that provision altogether, doesn't think the public has a right to know anything and that the police department can monitor themselves. What say you about this?
Man, I couldn't believe it. So we have the police policing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something they cannot stand. And this legislation is definitely headed in the wrong direction. The Tyree Nichols case was mentioned at the State of the State address. It was mentioned at the State of the Union address.
Yes.
Several legislators have sent us their thoughts and their prayers, but where's the action? In fact, there's no action to promote trust, to promote policies which will prevent another case of Tyree Nichols occurring in the future. We see the policies going back the other way. The Citizen Law Enforcement Review Board is the citizens' voice. It's the citizens' input over law enforcement, and with law enforcement. A strong CLERB makes law enforcement better, and it strengthens the connection between law enforcement and the community. So to undo CLERB, to lessen its impact, its strength, is definitely headed in the wrong direction. We are doing the exact opposite thing to prevent another case of Tyree Nichols from happening in the future, and it's unbelievable. It really is.
They have asked CLERB, they meaning CLERB, have asked for $1.5 million from the city council to be able to, strengthen themselves internally as an organization and actually create a staff and do things, that will put some teeth into what all of this is about. But there really is something very odd about the fact that the legislators, not all of them, but some of them up in Nashville, want to cut the legs off from the citizens' involvement in all of this. And as an organization, who is dedicated, to human rights and to making sure that things are as they should be in our society. How do we move forward, man? This is the big question that everybody wants to ask. And you said it a little while ago. How do we rebuild the trust that has been completely shattered by a few bad apples inside the Memphis Police Department with the community? How do we fix this?
Well, it's a long process. So this past yesterday, the NAACP celebrated 114 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That was our founding day, February 12, 1909. And so we know that a struggle is something that is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You hear several folks talk who marched with King and who worked in the 60s and 70s. It took time. It took a decade. It took 4 and 5 years. We're still working on things now, which were things that folks were fighting over in the 60s and the 70s. So we can't lose hope. We know that crime and public safety is an issue here in our town. So, and as a commissioner, I can tell you firsthand, the citizens of Memphis and Shelby County want good law enforcement patrolling and serving and protecting their communities. They just don't want those law enforcement officers to hurt, maim, and kill their babies, their sons, their daughters, if they're innocent. So what we have to do is to focus on the policy, whether Chief Davis stays or leaves. No matter who is in place, who's in charge, the policies are put in place to transcend administrations and leadership. That's why the focus has to be on the policy, duty to intervene, duty to render aid, duty to de-escalate. We have to codify it. We have to drill it. We have to train it. It has to be procedure. The duty not to harm a fleeing suspect if that suspect is not going to harm himself or others. So we just have to drill down and have to focus on these policies, and we have to show the community that we're sincere and serious about pushing these policies forward and effectuating these policies in the best way possible. And I guarantee you, you would have the community support if we do that in fighting crime, in assisting law enforcement, and in joining with police and others to make sure that we have safe communities. But we can't give up on it, and we have to focus in on the policy.
Van Turner, president of the local chapter of the NAACP. Thank you for all you do as an organization, and thank you for what you do to keep fighting for the rights of our people in this community. Thank you so much for taking time to come on and speak with us tonight. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Chip. My pleasure.
All right, man. Take care. Have a great night. I'll be talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir.
All
Looking
right.
forward to it.
Thank you very much. Van Turner, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening. Had some very direct words for how we move forward in our city. We're going to take one final quick break, and when we come back, we have another guest we're going to talk to, and she's going to talk about something maybe many of you have never heard of. It's called My Sister's Keepers. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Quick break, right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from Cushman & Wakefield Commercial Advisors. They have provided client-driven commercial real estate solutions throughout the U.S. since 1991. More information at cushmanwakefield.com.
Are you interested in sponsoring the show and want to support WYXR at the same time? To find out how, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. And we're rounding third and headed for home. And my next guest is someone who cares about other folks in particular. And she is the Director of Social Determinants, Health and Wellness over at the Methodist University Hospital. Now, I'm laughing because I'm really bad with pronouncing names, but I'm out of respect for her, I'm going to give this a try. And her first name is Sandra. That's pretty easy. But it's Madubuonwu is her last name. Did I get it? Did I mess it up too bad?
No, you did great.
I appreciate you. And listen, thank you so much for coming on Real Talk Memphis tonight. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
And it's good to have you here. And before we get too far into this, My Sister's Keeper initiative, that in and of itself says a lot. But explain to us what that initiative is all about.
My Sister's Keeper is a Methodist Laguna healthcare initiative that is committed to improving the health and well-being of Black women through education, empowerment, and advocacy. Black women make up the largest subpopulation in Shelby County, about 30%. Yet, they're not always included in the issues that directly impact the Black community. So Methodist Healthcare is committed to addressing health equity and access to care. For us, it is crucial that we involve and engage Black women in opportunities that positively impact the health and wellness of our community in this region.
You said that, really for Black women, they're the highest number in terms of population, but really don't have that support and that encouragement. How do you go about doing that? I mean, this is a very big deal, and it's a very important issue, especially for our beautiful Black women. How do you go about the support and encouragement that My Sister's Keepers tries to offer?
So we address these issues by providing health needs education, because Black women have higher instances of heart diseases, breast cancer, and cervical cancer, mental health challenges, among other things. So we know it's important for Black women to commit. So that's why we are convening My Sister's Keeper, in which we have kitchen table and we have people coming to provide a whole lot of education. We create a safe space for candid and vulnerable conversation that people just don't have anywhere. So people come together in My Sister's Keeper and they listen to experts, and they're able to go away with concrete information about their health. Through this initiative, women can build relationship with one another. And as you know, having a broad support system helps us to learn and connect with each other.
You're absolutely right about that. And, in terms of that to support and that connectivity that goes along with that, you're right. There are a lot of people who may have various challenges, whether they be health or whether they be mental, whether they be other, that maybe don't feel like there are enough resources out there to really be able to address some of these issues. So what made you decide to do this in the first place? I mean, how did this come about? Because this is extraordinarily important, I think, what you're talking about and what you're doing.
Like I said, this is our 5th annual summit. We've been doing this is the 5th one.
Okay.
We've been doing this year after year, and people log in from all, and this time around is virtual. It's free. Everybody or anybody can join and listen to all these presentations. And it is very important for everyone to join, especially Black women and anybody that supports Black women. So for this summit, the theme for this year is Living on the Front Lines, Stories of Trial and Triumph from Black Women's Perspective. And this will also border on the post-pandemic physical, mental, and financial health challenges and stories of perseverance, loss, and courage that people went through during the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, we will have somebody called Yolanda, an overnight certified nursing assistant at Madubuonwu who suffers from asthma. She's going to tell her life stories of what happened and how she's dealing with long-haul COVID since May 2022. And I know there are a lot of people that will benefit from that experience. We will also have a medical expert that will talk about the lasting effects of COVID, especially on those with pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
We will have, yes.
This is really important stuff, and you're talking about COVID set us all back about 2.5 years now, and folks are now trying to come back in various ways. And you talk about many people who have contracted COVID, who have long COVID, who are trying to deal with. And I would imagine that each and every year that you do this, and this is year number 5, as you stated earlier, that more and more women are getting involved in this process. More and more women are trusting and benefiting from some of the valuable and useful information that you all provide at these seminars?
Yes. And women hold very important positions in our communities and also in our homes. Like we always say, when you give an information to a woman, you disseminate the information to the whole world. So a lot of women come, they are in leadership positions. Some are also the matriarchs of their homes. So they come here and they listen. We have experts that will be talking about mental health issues, that will be talking about financial issues. There was Erica Blair who lost the mother during COVID. She wasn't prepared for this loss. But most importantly, she didn't even know how to take care of the mother's estate financially. These are some of the things we'll be discussing during this process. So everyone that comes today will take away something they will go home and implement in their homes or in their workplaces. And this is a very important program that you don't want to miss.
Finally, I'll ask a simple question before I ask you how folks can get in touch with you who want to participate in all of this. This must be extraordinarily rewarding for you, as someone, who's leading this effort or who's very involved in this effort. There has to be extraordinary gratification, especially from some of the women that you have dealt with that said, oh, thank you so much for having this. You have helped me in ways, and these other women who are involved in this have helped me in ways that I never thought possible.
Yes, this is very rewarding, not just for me, but for the entire Methodist Lobona Healthcare, where we take care of patients, clients, our family members, our own associate, not only inside the hospital, but outside the walls of the hospital, in our communities. This is one of the initiatives that we are talking about. We have a plethora of initiatives on the Methodist Lobona Healthcare System that we take care of mental health needs. We take care of adverse childhood experiences. We take care of social determinants of health, which are conditions that impact where people live, where people learn, where people worship. So things like housing, transportation, and all those issues. Methodist Lobona Healthcare is very much involved in things that impact our community. We have a lot of partners in the community. We don't do this alone. We have a lot of partners that we work with because we cannot do this alone. So others get involved and we all help our community.
Before I let you go, let the folks know how they can be a part of this.
Visit msk2023.eventbrite.com. There is no cost to register. Just gather your friends, gather everybody, your family members, and watch virtually. It's free. All Black women are invited to attend, and anyone that has concern about the health and wellness of our Black community can join too.
Well, amen to what you do. Thank you for what you do. And, we hope that this year is going to be bigger and better than ever. Sandra, Madubuonwu, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate you, and best of luck in the future. And hey, come back and visit us anytime.
I will. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great evening.
You too. Take care.
You too. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a great way to wrap up the broadcast tonight. And I hope that you all, especially you ladies out there, take advantage of what Sandra was talking about. It sounds like an absolutely amazing event. So, we had a little bit of an issue at the beginning of the show tonight, technically. But you know what? We have good people around here at WYXR, and our operations manager, Shelby, came came back to the studio to help us out and get us up and moving tonight. And I love you, and we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, absolutely that. So I hope that you all enjoyed the show. We managed to get all 3 interviews in here tonight. So my great thanks to Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy. And as Brent plays us out and we head off and move into the sunset or the sun night this evening or the evening, thank you all for joining us. Van Turner, thank you for being here. And, of course, Sandra for being here as well. And you all for hanging in there with us tonight. I really appreciate you. I see the Facebook line is growing a little bit tonight as well. Jackie Woods Webb is listening to us from Chicago, Illinois. She left us here in Memphis, and she's up there in Chicago. I see you, Jackie. It's good to see you, and I hope everything is going well. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. And I appreciate you all telling folks and you all at least giving us a chance. Just tune in and give us a chance. If you've never done this before, if you never watched this or listened to us in any form, please do. We are always looking to inform our public and encourage you in ways, in whatever way we can. I appreciate more than you know the support that this show is starting to get, not only here in Memphis, but maybe even around the country. So for Bren and for Nicole, for Shelby, I'm Chip. God bless each and every one of you. Keep watching and keep supporting and keep encouraging us here at Real Talk Memphis. Until next time, I'm Chip, and we're out. See you later.